get the importance of having a strong mind and having the right mental approach, because that's going to be a part of our success. Very often, I always say those who succeed in French are those who have a strong up here. Even for our children, for our students who are in French schools, we do a lot of mindset training for it to stick, for you to want to keep going. So tonight we're going to speak about turning fear into fuel, confidence through action. So the whole purpose of today's conversation is going to be to help you guys, to help you, our students, confront and reframe the fear of speaking French. Very often it's a fear, okay? And turning it into motivation to improve. So I want to ask you guys, okay? And be honest, be transparent. What specific situations, and you can write to me in the chat, okay? What specific situations make you nervous when speaking French? When you think about the French language, and usually what the first thought is that comes to mind, that's the real thing. So, what specific situations make you nervous when speaking French? And be honest, I know some of you live in French speaking provinces. So, just be honest with me, write to me in the chat.
Pronunciation,
Oh,
how
pronunciation.
if
Yes.
I'm saying it correctly, don't want to offend anybody.
Ooh, totally. Yeah. So, just the fear of what someone else
That's it,
is
yeah.
going to think. Got
Hmm.
it. Okay. Bruno?
I think that the same because I don't know if they're gonna understand me if I'm saying the things it's supposed
Okay.
to. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's really honest. Okay. And how would you say that fear affects your ability to learn or practice?
It cripple you because then you're not using it to practice. So it's almost like disability, like it's crippling you.
Right.
So if you don't do it, how would you get used to speaking or you, comfortable speaking it or and I have to remind myself it's okay to do
That's
it.
right.
Get over that fear.
That's right. So here's the thing, Bruno, did you want to add to that? Do you feel similar?
Yeah, totally similar.
Yeah. So it is important that we recognize that. So thank you guys for being transparent in sharing that, because it's such a almost, I want to call it a two-edged sword, right? So it's I'm nervous. Certain situations, scenarios make me nervous to speak French, but then it prevents you from practicing. So, how will I get better? How will I learn if I'm not practicing? So, I know that you guys said fear of being judged in not so many words. So, what is the other person going to think when I speak? Okay. And I'll be honest with you guys. So I want to share a personal story in that even people who speak French, so I sit in a very interesting position. Okay, so I grew up in a French immersion school. My parents did not speak French. So we are from Trinidad. Okay, we came from Trinidad to Toronto in 1989. Okay, and then my parents enrolled my brother and I into French immersion school just kind of on a whim. I think my dad's friend said, "Oh, why don't you put the kids in French?" And that's how we learned French. So they weren't able to help at home, but all of our classmates, like that's the nature of the French program, were going through similar experiences where we call each other for homework because mama and papa can't help at home. It's just not what's happening. Okay. But that also, you would think, oh, Elise, you've been speaking French since you're 5 years old, like you're good to go. No, there's sometimes where in the past, like I say, I would visit a French speaking country and it may be your first time there. And then you're a little bit like, man, I'm not a francophone by birth, right? Is it is it okay for me to speak? Will I fit in a full French environment? Although being perfectly fluent, right? So it isn't unnatural. It's human, like I said, but just know that every French speaker, and even people who speak the language, guys, even think about it for English, you don't know every single word in the dictionary, right? So maybe sometimes people in an academic environment might say, huh, I know this language, but I don't know that kind of language. Or it may be in a different industry, right? For working. And they might hear words and they're like, yeah, I understand the language, I think, but I don't know what you guys are talking about. So just understand that the fear, okay, it's okay to feel it, but we move through it because everyone may have a little bit or have had an experience of what an insecurity within language could feel like. So I want to help you guys in this reframe fear. We're going to do a fear reframe. Okay. We're going to do a fear reframe. So, an example of that. So, in a reframe, guys, is when we take a common fear and we're going to reframe it into a positive statement. For example, the fear could be, I'm afraid of mispronouncing words. Okay. Now, the reframe is, every mispronunciation brings me closer to getting it right. So I want you guys think of it, even what you shared with me, those on the call who are live. I want you to think about what's the fear, call it out, and then I want you to reframe that into a positive statement because this exercise is about the mind starting to approach what we know as fears differently. Okay, so I'm inviting you to take a minute, and you guys were really quick letting me know your fears. So hopefully we can use that same mindset to reframe that into a positive statement. Okay. So if you're ready, you can type it in the chat as usual, or you can say it out loud. Tell me your fear once again, and then reframe that into a positive statement. If anyone is also watching us live, you're welcome to participate in this exercise. Okay, so let's get those fears out and the reframe as well happening. Okay. If anyone is ready to share, you are more than welcome to.
So I'm assuming reframing means if I had instead of being fearful, um I guess I have to be more have courage and in doing that I'll just practice and I
Absolutely.
I am assuming that's what you're saying, just
Yeah,
be opposite of what I fear. So
literally. And a
it,
reframing is new for a lot of people because we're so used to just being like ending our statements at, I'm afraid of this.
yeah,
And
just
that's the end of
charge
it.
through the fear, just
That's it.
and just go at it and just say what you have to say. And if they correct you, it's like you learning still because they correcting you.
Exactly.
And
So
so
a fear, like saying the fear statement would be, I'm afraid of making mistakes. The
yeah,
reframe could be, every mistake brings me closer to better pronunciation, brings me closer to getting fluent.
yes.
Okay, so that's a one like example. So think about it. Sometimes it's hard because it's like, wow, for the first time I have to reframe my fear. Whoa. But I want you guys just to think of it, and that's a practice to incorporate on an ongoing both basis. So when you're feeling it, Bruno, I know you live where they speak French all around you. So if you're ever getting that feeling of, oh my gosh, what are you going to think? I'm afraid of sounding silly. I'm afraid of not getting it right. Every mispronunciation, every effort brings me closer to getting it right. Okay? En français, if you want to mes efforts, right? Reframe it in your mind. All right? So that's a encouraging way for you to think about it because sometimes when we get stuck with the fear, that's preventing us from even getting to the next level and getting to the right version of it. Okay. So when we talk about fluency, fluency is about I like to say the term failing forward. If you don't get corrected, if you aren't even having the courage to try and make an effort for someone who can guide you on it, then you're not going to improve. And that's just the fact of it. Okay. So I did want you guys, I know not everyone is on the same call with us, different places, how they're going to be watching this, but I did want to give an opportunity for a little bit of role play. Okay. Now, role play very often it's it's fun, but role play is such a fun way to practice. I like to call it spontaneous conversation. Okay. It's one thing in language to be able to memorize words. Another thing for it to flow because you've practiced it in role playing scenarios before. So, yes, we will talk about today about introducing ourselves, but that is going to be a real life scenario at some point where you do have to introduce yourself. But the role playing in an environment where it's fun and where it's safe, it's a good time, prepares you for the ease, okay, of when that's happening in a real life scenario around us. So I did want to take yeah, let's just take some turns and do introductions of ourselves. Okay. So who wants to? So Bruno, let's just say I meet you. We're in a class, EC, right here, right now, right? And I'll be like, okay, who do we have here with us? Okay, monsieur, like, who are you?
Okay, okay, okay. Bonjour, je
Oui.
m'appelle Bruno. Je suis mexicain.
Okay.
J'ai 17 ans. J'habite à Montréal. Je parle espagnol, un peu anglais et un peu français. Et ça.
Mais c'est très bien fait, Bruno. Very good. So you had beautiful things to include in your introduction. I heard your heritage, Mexican, you speak which languages, where you live. So you had quite a good list for an introduction going. Did you say your name in the beginning? You did, right? Okay,
Yeah,
missed that
yeah.
part. Okay, good. So you said Bruno, and my response would be enchanté. So we don't, Chanel, you can take a try as well. We don't, Bruno gave a very extensive introduction. That also depends on the scenario you're in, right? Sometimes it's just quickly, okay, we're going around the room, who is who, and then other times there is a little bit more time to expand on who you really are. So we'll learn different scenarios as we go, week over week, but this is just more about the role play and the comfort to get our minds in the right place for being prepared for moments like those. So Chanel, if you wanted to just say, like, just introduce yourself. What have you, I know you've learned a little bit of these key phrases. So just introduce yourself and it's just the practice, it's the habit of it, right?
Uh, je m'appelle Chanel.
Oui.
Um, um, je suis from Bahamas.
Et je suis de Bahamas.
The Bahamas.
Oui.
Um, je live. What is live?
Live is j'habite. J'habite.
Yes, Tibet.
Hmm.
Tibet. Is it Tibet? Okay.
J'habite.
Tibet. Okay.
Oui.
Tibet. Um, Canada, London.
Oui. You know what's funny? En français, London, like the place, the city is Londres, but that would mean like London, England. Uh,
Hmm.
so we don't want to confuse everyone. They'd be like, where?
Yeah.
But yes, you could say Canada. Good. Beautiful. That's extensive. You and Bruno have this list of stuff to go. So beautiful. So even if, like I said, sometimes the fear, I know for a lot of people is even getting started, you seem to already have your opening scripts. Okay. In any French scenario, that gives someone even something else to base a conversation off of. So sometimes we know when it happens, even for English conversation, what we're looking for are almost our own mini scripts. If someone says, okay, je viens de Mexique, right? I'm from Mexico. I'm someone who I'm interested now in Mexico. I might say what part, Or I might say, oh, I love Mexico. If I visited before, I might bring that into conversation. So I like that you guys gave a few things because you, in a sense, have put out your own conversation starters. Okay. So where does Chanel? Oh, Bahamas, beautiful. Love the beaches in Bahamas. You have something for someone else to go off of. So that's also a beautiful thing for you to even keep ready, your own mini script. When I go somewhere, I feel comfortable enough to at least introduce myself. So kudos to you guys for having that already down packed. Okay. It does get more advanced than that, but just getting started, just getting entering the chat, entering the conversation is the first piece. Okay? So I'm happy you guys did a very, very clear job on that. Something's working. Okay. So I want to lead you guys through what I call a visualization exercise. Okay. This is important for me as we just wrap up our mindset workshop for today. And I want you guys to do this last week as well, but in a different way. So I want you to close your eyes. If you're watching live, close your eyes and imagine yourself in a French cafe. Okay. Chanel, you're with Bria and the kids and hubby, Bruno, Eduardo, Maria, Papa. You guys are in the French cafe. Okay. Now you're there. It's beautiful. The sun is shining. Okay. You're on the patio. Now I want you guys to picture yourself ordering un café. Okay, if you like coffee or a tea, picture yourself doing it with ease, fluently, smiling and feeling confident. I want you to actually hear yourself speaking clearly. How you sometimes watch a movie or you watch someone in French and go, wow, that's amazing. Picture you sitting in that seat. Okay. And imagine the server nodding and responding positively. Okay. And in your case, you're probably ordering on behalf of your whole family. So he might be saying, OK, pour toi, monsieur, un café, pour papa, il veut un espresso, oui, maman, right? Picture them nodding and responding positively. Okay, so come back to this moment right now. Come back to this moment. Tell me how that felt. And I know the feeling very often of observing someone navigate in a whole different way, a whole different flow in the language, and admiring that. But I want you guys to tell me how you felt with that exercise of you picturing you being that person. How does it
Uh,
feel?
Felt nice. Uh, it gives me confidence.
Yes.
And that's something that I want to achieve.
Absolutely. It's something you want to achieve and you will achieve, Bruno, even by you being here. And as I said, it's very often the mindset piece. It's what prevents people from getting to the fluency. We tell ourselves, oh, I can't do it. Oh, it's too hard. Oh, it's too late. No. So good for you. Chanel, how did it feel? Chanel ordering in the French cafe for the family.
I would agree with him. I would feel the same way, you know, intelligent as well.
Yeah. It's always amazing when the
Yes.
person listening, they're like, yeah, I understand. Yeah, he took your order. Good to go. Okay, very good. So I want to leave with you guys today. Okay. I want to understand one small action. What small action will that be that you're going to take this week to face a fear and build confidence? What will you be doing, Bruno, this week that will take an awareness that this is something I am fearful of doing, but it's going to help me build confidence? What would that one thing be for you?
Um, I don't know, like grocery store.
Okay. You said practice French in a store? Yes?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, love that. And I know sometimes where you live, there's an option to speak English maybe sometimes, so you might just go for what's comfortable. But I love that. So you're going to challenge yourself to, in a store this week, lead with French, even though it's a little bit scary and it might bring a little fear, and it's going to help you build the confidence. Very good. Chanel, how about you?
Same thing. I will practice and probably listen more to French, like watch movies or news. Try put that in my week this week.
Good, good. And honestly, even that doesn't have to be an all day thing. And even Bruno, if you go into one store and you do it, that's
Mhm.
fine. Chanel, if you give 15 minutes to, you know what I'm going to give you guys? I actually have a French Spotify playlist it's more upbeat, like it's more for like workout, but it's French music. So even small things like that, like passively, okay, you play a couple minutes, maybe you go on a walk, you have your AirPods in or in the car. This stuff is what is making the language stick. You may not always think, oh no, I'm not in a lesson, but everything around us, if we open our eyes, is a lesson. Okay. So next week, what I would like to happen, okay, this is your little challenge. I want you guys to practice a 1 minute introduction in French. So pretty on video, pretty much what you did today, but I want you to, like I said, expand on your mini script, 1 minute long, practicing what an introduction to you would look like and feel like. And I want you to post it on our community wall here in our French Fluency Academy. That's your challenge. This challenge, I would say, addresses the fear that might exist of, oh no, someone else is going to hear me speak. Okay. But it also speaks to it's the building of the confidence. Okay. We're going to face the fear, we're going to power through it, and the confidence comes from that. I promise you guys. Okay. So that is our assignment, our homework. We want to see your 1 minute introduction in French. Share it on the community wall. And I promise you, everyone is going to be rooting for you as you post that. Because the whole purpose, like I said, yes, we are getting to fluency, but the purpose of our weekly mindset mastery class is so that we can remove all those mental blockers and get to the fluency faster. Okay.
Yes, sound good.
Awesome.